Hello VC, Tony here. Welcome to my channel. Really appreciate you stopping by. Today's an interesting one because hopefully you'll get some tips on some records to pick up you may not know were mastered by the great, legendary, what else can I say, supreme, premier mastering engineer Robert Ludwig, better known as RL. You know, Robert Ludwig, RL in the Dead Wax or the Matrix. Robert Ludwig RL in this one, Sterling Sound, SS or Sterling Sound. But these are the ones you know about. Everyone knows about the hot cut Led Zeppelin 2, which I'm proud to own a copy of. This one is a little bit easier to find. The Houses of the Holy. This is an OG with the original hype. You can see there. So I'm going to talk about 10 records that I pulled from my collection that sound great. And why do they sound great? Well, they sounded great before I knew why they sounded great. I always thought they just sounded great. No matter what stereo I put them in, or put them on, or play them through, what gear, what rig, from high school on to today, they always sounded great. So I'm going to go through 10 of these. There's hundreds. I may do a volume 2 of this or a volume 3. This may be a volume 2 already because I believe I did another Robert Ludwig best of. And I will link that, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it. Because these aren't planned. I pull these. I just want to share some of my records with you that sound good. And these all happen to be RLs, Robert Ludwig. Ludwig was born, I believe, 1943. Some sites it says 1945. But 1943, 1945... He's getting up there, and he's still up there, and he's still working. So keep rocking, Robert, man. You're the best. You are the standard. You set the standard for engineers from when you started to be and beyond in the future. So I'm going to show some of these, and I'm going to talk about them real briefly just to get this through. So some of these are common. You could pick them up probably on eBay for no more than like $8 plus shipping, or $5 plus shipping, surprisingly. Some of them are not common. You might have to, scour the internet or Discogs, but they're definitely worth listening to. If you just want to hear the content of the record, stream it on YouTube. But if you want to really hear this thing sonically through your rig, try to get the RL. And if you do buy it online, specify to the seller that you want that RL in the Dead Wax, because some of these later pressings are not RLs. But they still sound good, but they're not RLs. Okay, first up is this one. Climax Blues Band, live, FM live. This was first broadcast on a radio station out of New York. That was where I learned about rock and roll, and how I came to buy, I would say, the majority of my early collection was from listening to NEWFM. And on one night they broadcast this whole concert from the Academy of Music in New York City. Scott Muni was the DJ. Here's my notes inside. Scott Muni was the DJ, but this record is great. I think this is their third or fourth album. Sense of Direction is also mastered by Robert, and that sounds fantastic. I'm not showing that record because I showed it in a previous Robert Ludwig. But get this guy, these guys are smoking. British blues, fast blues, slow blues, some original, some Willie Dixon, really cool. Next up, you all know, but you probably don't know, that the Good Rats were actually mastered by Robert Ludwig, and that's Rat City in Blue. This is an unbelievable record. This sounds so good. I believe this is their third record, if I'm not mistaken. Just really good. This was actually recorded in New Jersey in the House of Music, which used to be in West Orange. West Orange is up where the Monkees tune Pleasant Valley Sunday was from. That there's a road up there called Pleasant Valley Way, and from that the writers of Pleasant Valley Sunday got the vibe to write that song. So that's a great sounding record. It's a Robert Ludwig. This is an early one, and this was actually one I picked because of the new Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown, because the Paul Paul Butterfield Blues Band was kind of talked about and prominent in that film. So that's an original. This is on Elektra. Here you can see the gold Elektra, and that was mastered by Robert Ludwig. Sounds really good. All the early Elektras sound good, but this one sounds really good. This is an odd one, which you may not know about. Ginger Baker, one of Ginger Baker's bands, another power trio, the Baker Gurvitz Army, and a great cover, as you can see. And there's Baker there. It's a really cool cover. Reminds me a little bit about Frank Frazetta, the great fantasy illustrator. Also did a couple album covers, which I'm going to talk about. But this could be right up his in his lane, kind of. So this is a great sounding record. A lot of solos in this. Great drumming, of course, by Ginger. And don't know the date, but I'm thinking, yeah, late 70s or whatever. So this is a really good one. This record sounds great. If you have the RL, there you go. This is an original yellow Epic. As you can see the label there. I got some notes from a different yellow Epics original. Here's the inner, Epic inner, which I save. Beck, sterling sound as well. So you have a Jeff Bogart and a piece. Jeff Beck, Tim Bogart, and Carmine a piece. Really recommend it. This record rocks. If you don't know it, stream it. But a lot of my buddies, my audiophile buddies, we all talk about this record. I have it on one of my hard drives for the car. I don't have it on CD, I don't believe. I might, but I listened to it because Big John transferred it for me, so it's on a flash drive. This is a rare one. Didn't know it was an RL. Always thought it sounded pretty good considering it's a greatest hits. This one here, the Vintage Years, Duane Eddy. This has 20 original hits, but these were all recut by Robert Ludwig. Rebel Rouser, Cannonball, Guitar Man, Ramrod, Paladin. Very extensive liner notes on here, on this record. I'll just show you the label because this is kind of an odd one. You may not be able to find this one that easily, but it's on Sire. Ludwig worked a lot on Sire. He did a lot of Sires, a lot of the Climax Blues Band that he did that I talk about in my previous video on him, and that one I told you about, Sense of Direction, is Sire. I believe the FM might also be Sire. So this next one up, you may not know it's a Robert Ludwig. Sounds good. You got to get an early pressing for you to have the RL, and this is an early pressing. It's not the earliest, but here you have a Dynaflex, I believe, and for some reason I got an RL. Hard to find. Diamond Dogs, the great David Bowie. And these Dynaflex records, though they're paper thin and they wobble, these were during the oil embargo in the 70s, 75, 76, 77. They sound great. The next one up is a great sounding record. I had it on 8-track. Did not know why it sounded so good. I just figured not a lot of overdubs. Was right there, was right there recorded live in the studio. And that's this one. Howlin Wolf Sessions, London, featuring Clapton, Steve Winwood, Bill Wyman, and Charlie Watts. So you got the Stones rhythm section. You got Clapton and Winwood from Blind Faith, the London Howlin Wolf Sessions. This one is really cool. I don't know if you know about this record. Really nice artwork. Howlin was not even a young man here. Howlin was probably 50s, looks a lot older. This has Built for Comfort, Red Rooster, Do the Do, Wang Dang Doodle, What a Woman, Poor Boy, I Ain't Superstitious. You have Herbert Sumlin is also playing guitar. And I think during these sessions, Marshall Chess from the Chess Brothers, one of the Chess Brothers' son, Marshall, named after Marshall Amps, he put this together, and he did not want to bring over from America, from Chicago to London. He did not want to bring over Hubert Sumlin. I think he just wanted to bring over. I know he wanted to bring over Howlin to play with these, on this ensemble of these great white blues guys. And Wolf said, if Howard don't come, I'm not coming. So of course we see him here. This was recorded at Olympic Studios, but it was mastered at Sterling Sound, and of course cut by Robert Ludwig. So also on here is Ian Stewart and some other folks, but Ian Stewart is playing harmonica. Klaus Vorman is playing bass on I Ain't Superstitious. So this is just a tremendous record. This record got me more into the blues than a lot of music back in the day in the 70s when I was in high school and I picked this up. So there's also a version of this that's not a gatefold. So you got to check the Dead Wax. That may be a later pressing. In any event, still going to sound good, but you really want to get the Sterling Sound, Robert Ludwig. So I said I think I have 10 here. This is the 10th one. Now this record sounds great. A lot of Chuck Berry's records don't really sound that good, even though they're Chess records. A lot of time you're not going to be able to get a good copy of the original Chuck Berry Chess record anyway. But mastering engineering, the Chess Brothers later on kind of diluted it. Plus these things have been redone. His records have been reallocated to so many different labels and so many greatest hits. You don't know what tape you're getting. You don't know if it was a third generation. But we really, and now that I'm talking about it, this is a great artist to put out one of his premier records. I'm not a Chuck Berry nut. I know all his records, but put out maybe the Great 28 on a UHQR or a One Step or whoever has that license, because we really need those records to shine if the tapes are even available. But anyway, the London Chuck Berry sessions, mastered by Robert Ludwig, a Chess record, and this sounds great. I never thought why it sounded good. I'm thinking this sounds pretty good for a Chuck Berry record, right? Now on here is the great song My Ding-a-Ling, his great, I don't know if it was number one, but it was definitely top 10 on the U.S. Billboard charts. This is My Ding-a-Ling, 11 minutes and 53 seconds. Now on here is Kenny Jones, The Who, Faces, Ian McLaughlin, piano, Chuck Berry, Robbie McIntosh, Rick Gretsch, Derek Griffins, Chuck Berry vocals and guitars. Half of it's recorded in London in a studio, and half of it's recorded at the Lancaster Arts Festival in England, and that's when we hear My Ding-a-Ling live and Reelin' and the Rockin' live. So I really wish that they would have put that whole concert out. Maybe it is out. You folks out there may know, but he does Mean Old World in the studio side. Live side is only 3 tracks, but it rocks. And for a 22-minute long side, Ludwig really got the grooves grooving, man. It's plenty of bass, plenty of mid-range. It's just, I was impressed, and I just recently found out that it was an RL. Of course, this is mastered at Sterling Sound, where he was, doing a lot of work at that time. So you got Reelin' and Rockin', 7 minutes and 10 seconds, My Ding-a-Ling, 11:52, and Johnny Be Good, and closing, 4:38. And in closing, you hear the audience really get into it. They love this guy. This guy, he was sweating. He was putting on a show. It's like his mantra. Folks out there may have never seen me before. I'm going to put on the best show ever. He usually didn't play with these top musicians. Usually play with pickup bands. There's a story on a documentary on Chuck Berry, or the rock and roll movie that Keith Richards put together. They interview Bruce Springsteen, and Bruce Springsteen's young band backed him one day. The guy said to him, "You guys want to back Chuck Berry records? Do you?" And Bruce said, "Yeah." And Chuck Berry said, and Bruce said to him in paraphrasing, like, "What are we? What's the set?" He goes, "The set is Chuck Berry records. Do you know Chuck Berry?" And Bruce said, "Yes, sir." And that was great. And that's probably out there on bootleg somewhere. But this is it. This is the RL. So these are 10 records that Robert Ludwig mastered. Most of them are easy to find. Some of them aren't. You know, like the, let me see, do I have all of them here? I may have missed one. No, that's it. Thought I missed one. No, that's it. That may be 9, but great record. He also did a bunch of James Brown records that really sound good, like the Hot Pants album, Payback, which I'll show on the next chapter of this if you guys watch it. If you watch it, if I get the views, I get the likes, and I get some interaction, please let me know what RLs you found in the wild. Not just not just this record, okay? He did plenty of records that sound good. This record is a phenomenal record because it was pulled, but oh, here it is. Sorry, Hot Pants. He also did the mastering for Hot Pants. It was stuck underneath this one. This is the inner Polydor, and here's Hot Pants. Great record. I was lucky to get this. This is in really good condition. I bought this used. As you can see, you know, excellent, near mint, really hard to find. Whoever had it kept it really cool. And this includes the original single Hot Pants, and the line is, "Got to use what you got to get just what you want." That's on here. That's 8 minutes and 42 seconds. You got Escapism Part 1 and 2. You got Hot Pants Part 1, Can't Stand It. And then you got Hot Pants again, and it's like a reprise. So that's it. That's the 10. Robert Ludwig, check them out. Thanks a lot. Please let me know how you like this segment. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider. It really helps us out. And I really appreciate you watching and commenting as you see fit. So thanks a lot. Stay safe. Hopefully it'll be spring soon, and I won't have to wear all these layers, you know, all these extra layers. So keep rocking. See you later. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Ciao.